What's up, guys? Nethervvoid here with more World of Tanks tank guides for you, and I'm on my EU account. As you can see, the nasty garage is because my EU account is not premium. But anyway, today I'm going to be doing the T-34-3. It's a or T-34-3. It's a Chinese medium tank premium. It's a tier 8, and it's going for like 11,000 gold, which is pretty steep because this tank is not that great. It's supposed to be a lot like the Type 59. The only problem is it's really not like the Type 59 in some cases. Really the gun, and we'll get into that in a minute. But it's got pretty decent stats for a medium. In fact, let me pull up some other issues. Let's see. I wanted to pull up some information on this thing before we got going on this, but it was kind of airing out on me. Because I like to look at the stats. There's a couple things that help me out when I look at the stats for this thing as I'm kind of working with it. So, tier 8 medium gold tank. It does have special matchmaking and will only see tiers 8 and 9, so that really helps a lot. Because while it's a good tank, it does have a couple pretty big faults as far as I'm concerned. The power to weight ratio is not very good, and I think that's kind of where one of its problems lie. And also with the really long reload on this gun, which doesn't seem to really have, bad accuracy, bad aim time. So the gun is fairly detrimental, and the mobility is decent, but not really great as far as power to weight ratio. So the way you're going to play this tank, knowing that, is, believe it or not, I kind of play it a lot like a heavy tank. This is one of those heavy medium hybrids. I use the mobility it does have to kind of get into some kind of flanking position, but not so far away from the action that the accuracy is, and the accuracy is going to be a big problem. And since this thing has a reload like a medium, you see 4 rounds per minute. I definitely play pop out with this tank, so I'll pull back and hide a little bit. If you played autoloaders, you'll understand how that works. I don't need to drive around the battlefield. It's not that long of a reload, but the reload is like 15 seconds. So that's what I would definitely do. It's actually could be a little bit lower than that. My crew is not at 100%. I haven't had this tank all that long. I've had it for a while, just haven't played it a whole lot. So the reload could go up a little bit, but it's got a very slow reload. So I generally play kind of medium range with this thing. Pop out game, probably supporting the heavy push, maybe on a flank of the heavy push to try to get some easy flank shots on people. You do that normally with a medium, but with a regular medium, and by the regular I mean a little bit quicker reload, a little bit better accuracy, hopefully on the gun, and a little bit better mobility. I'm definitely going for the kind of deep flanking areas where I can snipe, into the sides of everybody. But with this tank, I'm generally popping out, not too far away and going right into the side, hopefully, of another heavy. And that's kind of how I play this tank. And I do pretty well with it. Another thing you need to do, though, because you do have some mobility, is play this thing like a shock heavy, kind of like I used to say the IS-7 was. And I guess the IS-7 is still a shock heavy. But basically use that speed and stuff to move around the map. Watch your mini-map and look at areas where, your team's having issues, or you can exploit some big flank weakness on the enemy or something like that. And so you don't just go in one lane and kind of sit there and never move. You definitely need to use the mobility to your advantage. It moves quickly. It has a little bit of an acceleration issue. I think I'm going to show you a game where I do that, and you'll see kind of how that works. Anyway, let's get into some of the stats on this tank. 1,300 hit points. That's pretty good for a medium, tier 8 medium. I don't have any comparisons or anything, but that seems pretty good to me. The Tiger tier 7 heavy tank has 1,400. And I believe the IS-3 has 1,550 or so. So 1,300 is pretty good. 36 tons pushed by 520 horsepower engine. That's where this thing kind of lags. That's a 14 something power to weight ratio. Not very good. 14.65 actually. I'm going to look up real quick what the Type 59's power to weight ratio is, because I think it's a lot higher than this, and this is why a lot of people like that tank. Nope, 14.4. Let's look at the maybe the T-34. Maybe that'll help us. No, not Wikipedia, dude. World of Tanks. Yeah, here we go. So the T-34, which is a Russian tier 8 medium, has C17.2, so it's got a lot higher power to weight ratio. What's the Chinese equivalent? Let's look at that real quick. Power to weight ratio on the Chinese. Let's do this. Let's see. So that would be, well, either of these. Let's just look at the T-34-2. Let's see, T-34-2. I'm just going to look these up on the wiki. It's a lot easier. And it gives me, oh, those were unupgraded stats. So that means we got to go back. The T-44 has actually better power to weight ratio than I thought. So let's look at T-44 power to weight ratio again, because on the wiki I need to upgrade that sucker. So it has 19.9. It basically has 20 to 1 power to weight ratio. So yeah, that's a lot higher. That is much, much better than 14 something. So the T-34-2 has 17. Again, better, and that's what you expect. The gold tanks are supposed to be kind of a little bit worse than the regular tanks, right? WZ-132. Got to look that one up real quick too, since we're doing this comparison. Now I'm not going to compare it to like Panther 2. Panther 2, those are not fast mediums. They're just not very, they're more sniper style tanks. Oh wow, WZ-132 has 21.3 power to weight ratio. So yeah, a lot better. Okay. So yeah, this thing is not very mobile. So anyway, we've talked all about that stuff. 50 speed limit, you can actually get up to that, and I do in a game, and pretty regularly. 40, the traverse is decent though. 46 and 46, that makes for what? 92. Really nice traverse. So you're really not gonna have a problem with that. The problem is just that acceleration. Hull 90 and 50-50. Now 90 doesn't seem very good, but that angle is really awesome. And I'm gonna actually pop up Tank Inspector so we can look a little bit more at the weak spots and how the armor layout is. 190 on the turret. This thing can go hold down like nobody's business. The problem is it doesn't have a lot of gun depression, almost none. And that's actually something I think Tank Inspector can show us, what the actual gun depression is of the gun. We'll see when we get in there. Rate of fire again, very, very low. 380 view range, not the greatest, not horrible really, but not very good. And so sometimes you might not spot people if they're hiding behind bushes, but really it's only like 20 worse than the next tank or whatever. So in my opinion, it's not that bad. 600 signal range on the radio is not the best, but it's not bad. To me, once I get over 550 or something, it's fine. I don't really have any problems. You'll see problems really when you have 300 or 400, not when you have 500 or 600. You're usually fine. So let's look at the modules here, and then we're going to probably fire up. Yeah, we'll probably do Tank Inspector at the same time we would normally do Research. So obviously it's a gold tank. You can't upgrade anything. We've already talked about most of this stuff. The 500, yeah. The nice thing is the chance of fire is 12%. I think someone was saying they're 15% in the Russian tanks because they use diesel. So I don't know why this one's 12, but that's really nice. Turret, again, very good. And the gun has okay pen. It's actually decent. Actually, no, that's pretty good for a tier 8 medium 175. It's hard to go head to head though. That's why I encourage people to flank, like look at your heavy allies and flank whoever they're shooting at. And then 390 damage. At least it has really good damage, but the reload is pretty bad. You're gonna be sitting behind a building for a while. Definitely don't just sit out there and wait for your reload. You're gonna die. That's just the way this thing works. Actually, I'm going to go through everything, then we're going to look at Tank Inspector because I have to probably shut this off. I have to shut off the video and everything. So let's look at equipment here. This is actually not how I'm going to end up with this equipment. I realized that one of the biggest problems with this tank is that aim time. The aim time is horrible. 3.4 is too long for a pop-out medium. So the way I'm going to do this thing is I'm going to take that vent off. I'm going to put a gun lane drive there. Then I'm going to get a vert stab here. So that'll help a lot with the aim time. And then I have that rammer for the other issue of super long reload time. There are other things, that vent's nice for like acceleration a little bit and mobility and stuff, but to me that's not the biggest problem with this tank. The biggest problem is that reload time and that aim time. The accuracy, well, again, that's helped by the vert stab a little bit. But the accuracy is also very bad. So again, the gun, I'm just helping out the worst parts of this tank with my equipment. So I'd go gun lane drive, vert stab, and rammer. That's pretty much how I'd do it. I don't have those yet on this account because again, it's not premium, so it takes a lot longer to build up credits and stuff. Pretty standard shell layout here, 4HE, the rest AP. That's pretty much no big deal. Let's look at the cost on this thing, though. Can't do it there. Let's do it here. Nope, can't do it there. Here we go. Shell price 1,000. So that's something to remember, is that with a smaller caliber gun, it would be, the shells would be probably 252. But since they're 1,000, you better make sure you hit something, because that's pretty expensive if you're trying to grind money. Standard set of consumables here, just fire extinguisher, track, and small repair kit and small heal kit. You can use the larger ones for the passive bonuses. I don't recommend it, especially if you're trying to grind gold, just because it costs more gold to use them, and I don't think they do have a benefit, but in my opinion, it's not worth it if you're trying to grind credits. Your crew should look a lot better than mine, and there's really no point in talking about crew skills, because you should have a Chinese medium crew to throw in here, which I have. That's the Japanese. Where's my Chinese dudes? They should be. Yeah, here they are. The reason I don't have them in there now is because these are light tank. This is a light tank crew. So once I get a medium tank crew, then I'll be using that crew in here. But generally, what I would do is, you're gonna want. What I usually get is, when I first start out, I get mentor, repair, and that's because there are other skills I might normally get, but those don't go into effect until they're at 100%. They're perks. So once I get, I think for this tank, once I get, and I think I'm going to start doing this more on my mediums, is once I get 100% on all those first set of crew, I think I'm going to try 6 cents. And then I'm going to have to pick out whatever I want to do with these guys. Probably with the gunner, I'll probably pick snapshot to help out with that accuracy a little more in the aim time. And then with the driver, I'll probably go with not controlled impact. I can't even remember what it's called. In fact, that was what I was trying to look up a little earlier. I was trying to get that page that shows me all the skills. I don't think we can even look at them. Oh, here we go. So I'm probably going to get clutch braking. That's what it's called. That'll help my traverse a little more, or off-road driving maybe, because this thing does have acceleration issues. In my opinion, the traverse, the rotation is fine. That doesn't have a problem with mobility there. To me, the problem is the acceleration. So to help that out, reduces ground resistance when driving on soft and moderate soft terrain. What that's going to do is help me accelerate up to my top speed a little bit quicker. So that's probably what I'll get. And then for loader, I'm going to get safe stowage, which really it just adds to my ammo rack. Helps me. It adds 12.5% hit points to my ammo rack, so it's harder to get a hit on the ammo rack. First of all, for the ammo to explode, and secondly, just to get to have that ammo rack get damaged, so that you have to use your repair kit on it. And with this thing, if its ammo rack gets damaged, you better be using your repair kit on it, because you're going to be shooting it like 2 rounds per minute. So every 30 seconds you get to fire. That's not going to work. For my third set of, so once I do that, I'll reset these guys' second skill to mentor, repair again. Once that's 100%, I'm going to do brothers in arms for all those, and then mentor, repair again. So that's 3 levels of secondary skills. Most people aren't going to get past that, and that's good for crew here. Anyway, that's this tank in a nutshell. We're going to go into Tank Inspector in a second here and look at the weaknesses and look at the armor layout and the gun depression and stuff. So hold on a second. So this is Tank Inspector, and this is going to be something I'll be doing on all my new guides. This is a really cool program, and I'm probably going to do a special video just for this thing. But it shows you different tanks, and their armor layouts, and a lot of different stats on them. And you can actually just point the cursor at the armor. It'll tell you, see the equivalent down there? That's the armor equivalent right now. You need 131 pen to penetrate that with that shot right there. So this is kind of a neat little app. I don't want to show you everything about it, because this video is not for that, and I'll probably do a different video for it. And if I do, I'll try to put a link up. It'll probably be my little set of Watt links in the video description. Just click there. All my special links are in that thread, so that when I add new ones and stuff, I don't have to go back to all my videos and add the freaking link everywhere. So anyway, what we're going to do is look at the armor layout. So right now you can just click down here and you see the armor layout. So this is versus a 88mm AP round. And that's fine for now. All we really need is the color layout, and just to put the cursor on the top plate here, and you can see 147 to 160, and I think, yeah, see, so we need to get this thing flat. How do you do that? I think this is fine. I don't think it's going to change the color. No, it doesn't matter. So If you have like 150 or above pen, you can pretty much pen it in the top plate, but I'd probably shoot for the lower area. I don't know why that is. You'd think the angle would be the same the whole way, but apparently it's not. There, or the lower plate, and that was obviously with 100 pen, it's pretty easy to pen the lower plate. There aren't a lot of other weaknesses in the front. The cupola is relatively weak at 132, but it's really, really shallow and hard to hit. I would just go for the top or lower plate. Lower plate, obviously, if you can. Top plate, if you can't. If you can't, you're gonna pen it. That's why I was saying this thing is pretty nice at hold down. The problem with it is the gun depression is really bad. So from the side, you can see the turret armor holds up pretty well. 143 toward the rear here, but only on the bottom in some other areas. And this is actually starting to curve, so I don't know if I'd trust that. But that's fairly weak. The cupola, I don't know, 150 is not that good. I just shoot the side right here. Look, 50. That's so simple. This is the underside of the turret at 69, so I wouldn't shoot there. If you look at the actual model, see that little dip right there? That's the underside of the turret. So try not to hit that because it's a little bit more heavily armored. I just hit right here. Also, it's got tons of angling, so you might get a ricochet or something like that. I don't know. Don't do it. Can we zoom in? That's kind of neat. No, you can't. It's interesting. Ah, here we go. So 0. I don't know if you can change that or not. This thing is very, very much new. This whole tank inspector. I expect them to be adding to the to this thing over time. So if this thing's angled, let's see, ricochet, huh? That's interesting. 122 versus 180. So lower plate, or I guess the side's pretty much the same in this case. Look at that, 122. It's actually a little bit more, but almost the same. Let's see. You can do data too. Oh, that was the data. So let's look at firepower. Let's see. Damage. Let's see if we have the nope. Miscellaneous. Max load weight. I don't care about that stuff. I want to know what the depression is. Max depression on the gun. Mobility. Nope. Survivability. I don't know if this is gonna help. So ammo rack 180. Huh, it doesn't say. That would be really nice. Most people want to see that. You know, they want to see the gun depression of this tank. I'm just not seeing it. Penetration damage, module damage, reload time, rate of fire, max ammo caliber, max distance. Shell flying speed, that's kind of interesting to look at. 800, so that's really bad. Benchmark 923. So yeah, the muzzle velocity on this thing's pretty bad. That means you're gonna have to lead targets a little bit more. Average damage dealt, pretty low. Average killed, pretty low. So that's neat. I don't know if it's going against stats off watt or what, but that's kind of neat. I don't know. There's not a lot of stuff else to look at here. I really wanted to see the gun depression statistics, but apparently not. Maybe that will be in the future. So anyway, that's a tank tracker and kind of looking at the armor layout and stuff, the T-34-3. Too bad they don't have gun depression on here, but I know it's not very good. It's pretty abysmal, actually, and that's actually why a lot of people said they don't even want to buy this tank because the gun depression is almost non-existent. So I don't see that as a huge problem. Yeah, if you're trying to go hold down, but mediums, in my opinion, a medium's playstyle is not hold down. It's trying to flank people and stuff. So those people should not be shooting at you, first of all. If you're getting shot at in the front of the turret, generally it means, in my opinion, you're playing the tank wrong and you're trying to use gold shells or something like that. You need to flank with this tank, not get shot in the front of the turret. So anyway, that's the armor layout. Let's get into a couple games and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So here's the first game I want to show you. I have 3 games this time. I played this tank quite a bit. More than maybe usual, just because it's a gold tank and I haven't had a need to grind up to it. So let's start up a little bit. I'm kind of just watching where people go to see where I need to support, because I am top tier. And I chose this direction because as kind of a support tank, I cannot lead a push. I don't have the armor to hold people off generally, and it's not really my role. That's more of a heavies role. Or a TD. TDs are good with that too if they have a long lane. So I'm coming over here. As you'll notice, this is slough, swamp, basically. And so the terrain is pretty bad here. This is where I would love to have, what's that? Soft ground perk or skill, basically, which would be really nice. I think it's, I can't remember what it's called, but the skill where you have a better mobility on rough terrain would be perfect for this map. So here I am picking out an ARL 44 kind of on the side. Boom! You're dead. Now here's the long reload time on this thing. 12 seconds. That's forever in a medium tank. That's really forever in any tank. I think it was more than that. I think I just looked at it at 12, but I actually had a couple of better games as far as showing you exactly how to play this tank, but there's some kind of bug in 8.10, and it really is bugging me that you don't always get your replay. One thing I noticed that if you bail out to the garage kind of quick, like right after you die, or you don't wait till the whole battle's over, you have a higher chance of not getting the replay from it. So in the majority of the battles where I survived the entire battle, and then it got all the way to the garage on its own, I would have a higher chance of getting the replay file. That's what I noticed. I don't know if that's true or not. It just seemed like it when I started watching it, but you know, I missed out on. There's a couple of awesome games where I could show you how to play this tank and how to flank with your heavy team, and I just didn't get the files. So whatever. So here I'm kind of fighting this IS-6 with the T-34. The problem is, I'm not really flanking. I'm actually going head-to-head like the T-34. So you're going to see, well, actually, he's actually pulled off now. But you're going to see that, am I in? Yeah, I'm in one time. So you can see the acceleration on this thing. Very, very sluggish. And I just got to bounce right there, probably off the turret. Oh, where's the paintball mod for you? Oh, well, whatever. And it's pretty sluggish, especially on this the softer terrain. So, and here's where gun fails me right there. I think he had higher armor. Yeah, just the armor value was higher. But also the accuracy on this thing's pretty bad. Usually, like I like 200 to 300 meters. That's kind of the go-to range. Usually, stuff above that not very good. So here's 133 meters. So 174 versus 20, no problems. But he also gets a shot on me, probably right in the corner. Yeah, and he gets a track on me. So this is like not the situation this tank is built for. Head-to-head with a heavy, not really what it's supposed to do. So the T-34, I think, is coming back. Is he? He's about to. So watch what happens when he comes back. Now I know that shot's not going to happen. This shot, that should work. Yes! When I catch him turning, I got kind of lucky. It's still penned. So we're down a tank. Now the T-34 is back in, except he's one shot from death from that IS-6. This is not a good idea for him. Maybe he'll shoot at me instead since I have more hit points. This is generally where I want to take the hit rather... Yeah, see, I take the hit rather than the other guy. So I'm not penning him right here. I decide to go somewhere else. And... oh, there's some paint action for you. Got hit in the side of the turret. I don't know where the other hit I got was. But I'm going to flank this guy. But I'm still going to be close into the action. I'm not shooting from across the map. I'm just getting a close-in flank. I should have stopped at that house there, but I couldn't see him. I also probably couldn't get a shot on him. He was waiting for it. He was anticipating it. And he bounces off me. Let's see where he hit me after I get the shot on his lower plate. I have to wait forever for this freaking aim time. So there we go. Let's see if I back up. Where'd he hit me again? I'm getting no paintball effect. Dang it. He's bouncing off me somehow. I think he's hitting the turret. There he gets taken out by the arty. So another thing I like to do with this tank is try to scout a little bit too. If I'm up against a tank like a TD that's facing me directly and there's really... I'm sure I could probably flank him, but I'm going to take a shot to the face to do it. I generally don't like doing that. That's called trading damage. If I have lots of health and he's like one of the last tanks, I don't mind doing it because the game's almost over. If I know I can get in and start circling him, but generally I'll just start scouting and let Artie kind of do its thing. Not too exactly concerned with getting tons and tons and tons of damage. So 1,490 damage so far, that's good. I've passed my hit points and damage. So I'm doing okay. That's a mediocre game now. I know I've had a harder time. If you look at my stats recently, they're kind of slumping a little bit. And it's just because I don't play this game as much as I used to. And so I think the biggest detriment to that is not knowing. You lose a little bit of knowledge of the more advanced stuff you used to, kind of tricks you used to pull on people and all that. You just forget a couple things. And you mainly forget how to play the maps. Especially if new maps have come out since you've played, it's really hard to... Now here I'll trade damage, if he even gets a shot on me, and already takes him out. Again. Is if new maps have come out, you really don't know what's going on. And so, that cuts into your stats after a while. It's just the way it is. So here's a Panther 2, 160 versus 60 here, 25. Now, I think I'm shooting a little low. Caught him in the tracks. I should have shot a little bit higher. But that's okay. He's hurt. He's tracked. We're going to take him out. A Panther 2 can really be a nuisance to your team. Going for a little bit higher up on the track so I can get some side armor. And boom! Only 37 damage, but take him out of the game. Remember, the point is to take these guys out of the game. One thing you'll notice with this tank is you get a lot more kill shots, especially since you're going to be top or higher up in the food chain, pumping out 390 damage per shell. A lot of times you're going to be getting kill shots with that kind of damage, a lot like a TD would. So here is kind of also where I start showing you the mobility of this tank and kind of moving all over the map to try to get nice positioning, and you can do that with the mobility on this tank. I'm driving backward a little bit because just trying to get in a position to shoot this IS-3. The 8.8 could crawl behind me, but there's a bunch of guys up at B8 that are kind of protecting my back. There's no way he's going to pull out while all those guys are camping. And they're definitely camping. I think it's because they're tier 6s, so that makes sense. I don't know if I agree with it, but I understand why they're doing it. But whatever. So I'm trying to spot the... no, the IS-3's dead. All we have left are TDs. Yeah. So... that set of TDs could still mess us up pretty good. The Yog P, awesome tank. Yog 8.8, awesome tank. Is it a Hellcat? I don't think it is. I think it's a Jackson. Still a good tank, but not as good as the Hellcat. And the AT-8, also an awesome tank with that insane armor layout it has. Kind of waiting for people to show up, waiting for other people to spot. I can spot, but I don't have Sixth Sense on this tank. So, I don't know. You do take your chances when you spot with a tank that doesn't have Sixth Sense. It's another good reason to get it, especially on mediums, is you're trying to spot some enemy and get flank shots and stuff and have teammates move up and different things like that. It's nice to have that Sixth Sense to kind of get out of the way. The thing with Sixth Sense to remember, though, is it activates 2 to 3 seconds after you get spotted. So they're already seeing you for 2 to 3 seconds. They can definitely, if they're already aimed in, they're going to get a shot off on you. There he is. He's dead. So one of their best tanks goes down because he overexposed himself right there. They should have an Artie back there too where that Chai 2 is. Yeah, there he is. Well, there's one of the... oh, he's a 25/2. 25/2 is a tier 7, but it has a really crummy gun. I can't remember what the pen is on it, but it's really bad. It's the same gun that's on the Hellcat, so it's like... It's not a very good gun for tier 7. You definitely need a pen increase, and you're not getting it. So that's when a lot of tanks really up their armor quite significantly. So here I'm at 500 meters, and this is why this gun doesn't really work at 500 meters, and it goes way over his head. Accuracy, just not good. Also to remember, my crew is 75% in these games, so there's a lot that they gain from 75 to 100. So I'm going to take a second shot at this tank. And I just do it a little bit too late because the aim time, again, really bad on this tank. Gun lane drive and vert stab. That's going to help that a lot. And also snapshot on your crew. Should help that accuracy, aim time issue. Really just aim time because I don't think it affects accuracy at all. So here's a nice back shot on this 8.8. See if I can hit him. Boom! Remember, look how long I had to wait for that freaking reticle to come in. Not fun. When you're doing those long range shots like that, you have to wait a lot longer. That's another reason to kind of do your shots at like 200 meters. You don't have to wait as long for that aim time. You can, the tank is right in your face. You're just gonna, you're not gonna miss. So that's another good reason to drive in close. So anyway, still having a good game in this tank. Again, you can see the mobility here helping me move around the field. Getting off-road driving would really help a lot. So it's going to be interesting to see. I haven't done a crew with Brothers in Arms as a secondary crew set for a long time. So I'm really interested to see how well that stacks up against Sixth Sense and those other skills I was talking about. But I mean, if your tank is good in some areas and has just a few really horrible areas like this tank, it might make a lot more sense to not get Brothers in Arms because the other parts of the tank are already okay. They don't need any help. So he's dead. AT2 is here. Pretty much their last offensive tank in my opinion. So let's see if I can get a shot at this guy. Again, 128 meters. I need to hit the cupola, so I still have to wait because it's a really small part of the tank, and he's dead. So that's a really nice game, 2200 damage, really nice. Let's get another one, hold on. So here's the second game I'm going to show you. This one's on Northwest Standard, and I don't even know if they have an encounter mode for this map yet. It's pretty new. I don't think they do. But anyway, in this one, I'm going to show you, and again, I'm kind of watching where people are going. But I like this northwest area of the map. And in this one, I'm going to show you, again, some more kind of close-in fighting flank style. And again, not really supporting a heavy push. I am a little bit. I'm kind of going to be supporting the north heavy push. But I'm not going to be working really closely with the heavies like I would on some maps. Again, it's going to be map dependent. It's not something you do every time. It's just something you do in general. It's kind of a mindset you should have with this tank. And sorry about that. I'm trying to close something that's in my face. There we go. So, just coming up on the tracks here. Waiting for people to show up. T-71 scout tank. Nice scout tank, actually. Really nice gun on that thing. It's an autoloader. It's a lot of fun to play. The problem with me is I don't generally like the scout play style, so there's that. But there are some games where you can get that thing and just rack up tons of damage, you know, flank style while you're scouting. It's pretty cool. But again, scouting, not really my play style. So I'm trying to come over here, maybe get some early shots in on this guy or some other heavies. Notice I didn't take the shot because, first of all, this thing has really bad accuracy, and second, he was bouncing all over in the dirt and stuff. You pretty much have to aim in. Unless you have a clear shot on a tank that's fairly close, you have to aim. You can't do just random shots like that. So this rock's looking really good for if they spot somebody getting some side shots possibly on people at like B4 or something like that, or B3. So far, nobody's spotted, though. And I'm just kind of waiting for people to show up. I definitely don't drive out in the front with this tank. Again, a lot of that is because I don't have sixth sense, so I don't know when I've been spotted. What was I going to say? I can't remember. I wanted to tell you guys something, and I just remembered it, and now I can't remember what I was going to say. Yeah, I clearly do not remember it, like, at all. Anyway, one of the things I should be doing, though, is I should be able to show you some War Thunder Tanks footage soon, so that's going to be kind of cool. That should show up in the next couple days. So we can kind of make some so I can do some comparisons between the two games and stuff. And then maybe think about doing some strategy guides and stuff, some tank guides on that game, too. I'm not sure. Anyway, I'm just kind of saying, where are they? We should have spotted them by now. We're already moving in. Technically, where that Type 59 is, if you're looking at the minimap, that's kind of enemy territory on this map. See where I'm clicking? See that guy's where that guy's clicking? So there's the IS. That's way back from where you usually spot these guys. And he's kind of behind that rock. Glad I didn't take that shot. I get trolled a lot by that silhouette that shows up. You know, 90% of the tank is behind a rock, but you can't tell. And you move and fire before you even can tell that the guy's behind a rock. I wish the silhouette only showed up for the area you can actually see, not the stuff that's behind a rock. I don't want to see that silhouette. And in fact, if someone made a mod of that, that'd be really cool. I doubt it would ever happen, but that would be really sweet. Because I do a lot of troll shots into rocks I would normally never take if that silhouette wasn't jacking with me. So here those guys have moved up far enough that I'm not going to be able to do any kind of flank maneuvering, you know, this far away from the action. Slide down slowly off the hill and you won't damage your tank. Something good to know. It's pretty much you can almost slide off any cliff in this game if you do it slow enough. And not really taking much damage to your tank. Any or much or any. Now, technically, there could be some guys in this little town right over here. This looks like a logging town or something like that. Maybe a mining town. But generally, nobody's over here, so it's fairly safe to come into this area of the map and not expect too many guys in here. Sometimes you will find flankers, but in general, you don't. So again, I'm trying to support these heavies, maybe get some flank shots from fairly close. See if I can spot anybody in this area here. There is low, almost dead ahead of me. Sorry, I have to keep muting the mic because I just kind of halfway in the middle of my dinner here. But oh no, what I was gonna say is I've moved my computer yesterday up into my bedroom now, me and my wife's bedroom, so that way I won't get interrupted and I can pretty much record anytime I want, instead of waiting till, you know, everything dies down at night till, you know, 9 o'clock or 9:30. By that time I'm kind of tired, don't even feel like recording. I just want to sit around and not do anything. So here's where the close flanking action is going to come into play. There's a low here. That's a sort of a flank position, not quite. Not a good shot there on the cupola because, again, this thing has pretty bad accuracy. So 50 ton trying to come up here and help me out. You can get some troll bounces with this tank off of, and let's see if we can see it. Yeah, there's the paintball off the troll armor on this turret. Just by kind of baiting guys up and over hills. You aren't going to be able to get shots on him because of your bad gun depression, but you can draw in some troll shots and help your teammates out by just taking, you know, shots in the face. Again, almost hit that guy at 151 meters. If you want to hit weak spots, you generally have to be like 100 meters out or even less. Again, part of that is because my crew is at 75%. So he's going to come up again, and let's take him right in the face there. I don't think I haven't even shot yet. He's bouncing around waiting for his reload, and he's out of the game. So he's dead. The 175 pen is generally good for tiers 8 and 9, especially when you're getting flank shots like this. So this guy's trying to move up on the ARL 44. Should be easy kill for him, except they got flank nether on the scene. 350 damage right in the side of your face, dude. That's right. So he gets taken out. Oh, I wanted a shot on that TD. No dice. So the north is pretty much taken care of. Now here's another thing you can do. See that super Pershing fighting the M4 at 4.5? They're just duking it out. Nobody's flanking. There's nowhere to drive around that guy, really. Watch what I feel like doing here. Oh, he's pretty vulnerable from the back. This is really what you do in any heavy or medium tank, but with this tank especially, it can be devastating because of the high damage gun, and you have to be really close to use it. So it's kind of an up-close dogfighter in a sense. Now I'm going to make sure I pen on that shot and shoot right into where the ammo is and then into the turret to do the maximum damage as far as just straight up damage and also hopefully killing some crew. So I get shot in the engine there from that that Japanese tank. Again, hitting the rock because the at 218 meters because the accuracy is bad and my crew is not 100%. So I'm not going to snipe it out with him here because I know I'm not going to be able to hit him. But what I can do is go up around the backside and kind of brawl with him. That is definitely a tank I should be brawling with. I think it's a tier 7. And I'm not sure how good the tier 7 Japanese are. I don't know. I know with my gun and my troll turret armor I can get in his face. So you can definitely bully your other mediums. You have enough mobility so they can't circle you. And you can have that turret and stick that turret in their face, especially like lower tier mediums. There's no way they're getting through it. HE is not going to hurt that bad. Gold might get through your turret, but you can face hug the lower tier mediums. So in that regard, that's a lot like a heavy's playstyle. And that's why I keep saying I play this kind of as a medium heavy hybrid. So at M6, I'm kind of just trying to spot people, figure out where people are, where it's safe to advance. And here you can see I did get penned in the front here. You can see that paintball in the front. That's pretty easy to get penned right there. So again, just trying to spot. People are hanging way back, partially because ARL 44 is a pretty lousy tank in this kind of a game. And the M445 might have a damaged engine or something. He's crawling pretty slow. The 8.8, not really a forward tank because it can get swarmed very easily. So now I'm going to move in on this Japanese tank. Now I'm going to pop this thing up to see what kind of... Well, it should show me what kind of a tank it is. No, it's not. Chai-Ri. Boom! 350 damage. Now, he shot me again. Is that a pen? In the turret? I don't think there was any damage right there. Yeah, there we go. So I'm face-hugging him. He's never going to get anywhere being face-hugged. Now I'm getting hit by somebody else. I don't know who. And you're dead. You got to be really careful firing up that close because you can actually shoot over the tank. Like if you're shooting right here, you can shoot over the tank. So you want to make sure you're sighted in right where that turret is. In case it goes a little high, it'll actually hit the guy on the turret instead of totally going over him. And a lot of that's because of the camera angle. It looks like you're going to hit the guy when you're just not going to hit him. You're actually aimed above him. So again, I need to come up and spot some fools. KB-13's there, I know. There's an Arty back there. So there's another Arty, I don't know where he is. So it looks like this guy's AFK. Hit him in the face, or really the side of the face. He looks AFK. That damage didn't do anything to him. So I think, yeah, instead of taking out, okay, there's the other Arty. So instead of taking him out, I'm going to turn toward this Arty here. I don't know where that shell went. He should be dead. His shell flies over me. That was really not a good time to fire. He knows I'm on reload. He knows I'm going to hide. So now I'm going to try to get up there and reload my shell before he can. He tried to troll me, get me to fire there. If I had fired, he might have been loaded by that time. I don't think so, but maybe. So, boom, you're dead. 2100 damage, 2180. Very good in this tank, in my opinion. 2600 is double, so that'd be a really good game. But it's really hard to get that much damage with this tank just because of the reload speed. It's just not that easy. And the slightly lower pen. So I think he's aimed in over there, and no, he wasn't. I figured for sure he'd be aimed in on that side of the building, waiting for me to come around. So I'm not going to let him take a shot on me, and somebody else takes the shot, gets the kill. That's fine. I'm fine with that. The name of the game is taking people out, right? So what do we got left? A Type 59, right? Yeah, Type 59 and a T-28. So the Type is way back there killing off the Arty. And we're going to go off that T-28, which is right up on the hill here. So we got a bunch of guys in the cap. I don't know why they're doing that. Maybe they don't feel like fighting this T-28. Should be pretty easy to take him out, though. The Type is definitely going to ruin all those Arties. I think the problem... So here, I do get a troll bounce off the turret. You can see right under the mantlet, it looks like, I think. But I'm backing out of this a little bit. I'm not trying to shoot this guy. If I try to pull all the way up with my gun depression, he would be able to shoot me. So I don't know what I'm doing. I'm trying to think of how am I going to do this. I can't drive straight at him. Delay him. And I figure they've got plenty of time, and I'm no way I'm going to sit there and just get shot at to death because no thanks. So I'm thinking maybe I could just go around him, I guess. Or wait till he pulls out and get some side shots on him, like right there. And I'm probably thinking about how am I going to get around him, but it doesn't matter. We win the game. So, again, that's kind of how you play this tank. Let me know what you think about this tank. Tell me what you think about Tank Inspector. I think it's pretty cool. The link is in the video description on how to get that. Just look in my World of Tanks forum link. It's going to have all the links to different stuff, my mod pack and all that other stuff. So, again, tell me what you think about this tank and this guide, and I'll see you next time, guys. Stay frosty.